It's pretty wild to think that you can snag a World Cup winner for £35 million, isn't it? Take a look at the hefty sum Chelsea forked over to bringing in Enzo Fernandez in from Benfica. And remember last summer when Brighton wouldn't let Caicedo go for less than €100 million and Southampton was holding out for €60 million for Lavia. It just goes to show the madness of the transfer market these days. But what many might not realise during the time is that the Reds have already kicked off their midfield overhaul with what can only be described as a steal. Yes, Alexis Mac Allister. Sure, Wataru Endo was a pleasant surprise for the Reds, and yes, Dominic Szoboszlai quickly won over the hearts of the Anfield crowd. However, it's the Argentinian who's really turned heads recently, playing a pivotal role in keeping Liverpool in the hunt for this year's title. So what's the secret behind Alexis Mac Allister's success? How did he transform into one of Liverpool's key players after so many doubted him at the season's offset? And how did an injury that he sustained become the reason behind his rise? But first, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more Liverpool deep dives. First off, a lot of folks don't realise just how much a bargain the Mac Allister signing was. The guy was crucial for Brighton, helping them get to their first ever European competition by scoring 10 goals. He even helped them get to the FA Cup semi-final. But the biggest deal, he played a crucial part in winning the World Cup for Argentina after 36 years, setting up the second goal in that legendary final. So it's no shock that teams like United, City, Arsenal and even Juventus wanted a piece of him. Just think about all the hype and you'll get why getting him for only £35 million up front was such a smart move. Now before we get into how he's become so important for the Reds, let's look at why he was so good last season. One of the big things about Alexis is how many positions he can play. He was out there as a central midfielder 8 times, as an attacking mid or a number 10 11 times, and as a defensive midfielder 17 times. Klopp loves versatile players who can do a lot of different things, so grabbing the Argentinian was a no-brainer. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for Mac Allister at Liverpool. Yeah, it's a bigger club than Brighton, with way higher expectations, especially after a rough last season and a big summer rebuild. But the real reason Mac Allister didn't hit the ground running wasn't the pressure. It was because Klopp was using him as a defensive midfielder. What about the talk of how versatile he is, mentioning how he can play anywhere in the midfield? Didn't we just point out he played 17 times as a defensive mid last season? Well, this still stands true, but there's a catch. He was playing in a double pivot, not solo. He had Moises Caicedo with him, who acted like a safety net using his strength and speed to cover the gaps that opened up. This probably explains why Liverpool was so keen on Caicedo to begin with. What went down with Mac Allister at Liverpool then? Like we mentioned, Klopp put him in as a lone 6 in that midfield trio. Even when they did switch to a double pivot, it was with either Jones or Szoboszlai who pushed up, leaving Mac Allister to hold the fort. This setup didn't really play to the Argentinian's strengths for a couple of reasons. First off, when the team didn't have the ball, he often found it tough to manage the midfield all by himself, getting caught out during quick changes in play and struggling to get back into position. Second, Mac Allister's game is all about moving the ball forward. He's always on the lookout to break through the opposition lines with his passes. This meant Liverpool sometimes lost their grip on the game because instead of keeping the ball moving and circulating in behind, Alexis was always looking for those decisive passes. Now hear this one out. It might sound weird, but the knee injury he picked up against Sheffield United, which benched him for 4 matches, well, this was a kind of a lucky break. How does an injury help, you ask? Well, stick around and we'll tell you. Before Mac Allister had to sit out with his injury, Wataru Endo wasn't exactly a fixture in Klopp's lineup for league matches. Out of the first 15 games, Endo only started twice, and one of those starts was the same game Mac Allister got injured. The rest of those games, he was warming the bench for 4 of them and got a total 129 minutes playing as a substitute. But after Mac Allister was sidelined, Endo's role on the team took a huge turn. He nailed down 5 straight starts in the league until he had to leave for international duty in January. When he got back, he was in the starting lineup for 4 out of 5 league matches. The only game he didn't start was against Nottingham Forest, where he still got to play the last 30 minutes, fresh off of playing a heroic 120 minutes in the EFL Cup final against Chelsea. So how does Endo getting more game time tie into Mac Allister playing better? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Mac Allister wasn't stuck playing as the lone 6 anymore. Remember how we talked about Mac Allister doing so well at Brighton when he had Caicedo by his side in defensive midfield? At Liverpool, it turned out to be Endo who gave Alexis the freedom to play to his strengths. With Curtis Jones and Dominic Szoboszlai out with injuries lately, Alexis Alexis got to play as a right or left midfielder instead of being the only pivot, and that's where it really started to shine. Now let's dive deeper into what makes Mac Allister such a standout player. First up, let's talk about what sets the Argentinian apart: his ability to drive the game forward. Mac Allister is exactly the kind of player Klopp loves. He's always eager to push the ball up, making those forward passes, not just frequently, but with pinpoint accuracy. This chart plots Premier League midfielders by how many forward passes they make every 90 minutes and how accurately they do it. The Argentinian averages 7.59 progressive passes per 90 minutes and nails them with an 82% success rate. This impressive combo places him in the Premier League's top 10 midfielders for both stats. But Mac Allister's forward momentum isn't just about his passes. He's also making moves with the ball at his feet, averaging 1.80 progressive runs per 90 minutes and successfully taking on opponents 1.10 times per 90. The perfect example of this skill happened in Liverpool's recent game against Manchester City. In that match, he snagged a loose ball in the midfield and didn't hesitate to charge forward. At the same time, City's Rodri was on him trying to cut off his path. With a slick move, Mac Allister effortlessly got past Rodri, leaving him trailing, but that wasn't it. Next, he sent a laser-sharp pass through City's defense straight to Luis Diaz, landing him in prime position to threaten. But wait, it's not all about pushing forward. With Endo securing his spot on the field, Mac Allister has been showing off his skill in game control. Smoothly moving the ball around, he's been attempting an impressive 63.47 passes per game, completing them with accuracy of 85.6%. This aspect of his play has become increasingly crucial lately, especially with Liverpool missing Trent Alexander-Arnold's knack of orchestrating play from the back, notably during the showdown with City. That match was a showcase of Liverpool at their absolute best in possession, and Mac Allister was at the centre of it all. He wrapped up the game with an 81% pass completion rate. Out of the few passes he missed, 6 were ambitious long balls, and just 3 were short passes that didn't find their target. This performance was central to Liverpool's command over the game, with Alexis playing a key role in holding on to possession and steering the gameplay with his precise passing. With the ball at his command, both through his runs and his passes, Mac Allister has chalked up 66 shot creating actions, that even topping Darwin Núñez. Plus, he's ranked 23rd among all Premier League players for goal creating actions, with 11 to his name. Leading the charts is Ollie Watkins with 22, with Bukayo Saka and Rodri not far behind at 17. This just goes to show the massive impact the Argentine has had on the Reds' attack, and nothing highlights this better than his brilliant assist for Darwin's game-winning goal against Nottingham Forest. Now that we've covered what Mac Allister brings to the table in possession, let's delve into the contributions off of the ball. How does he fare when Liverpool switch to defence? Well, it's safe to say that his South American grinta has been influential to this Liverpool side. Liverpool typically adopts a 4-1-4-1 formation when pressing, effectively deploying 5 players to lead the charge. Darwin Núñez spearheads this effort, flanked by the wingers. The 2 midfielders or 8s slot into the right and left channels to add pressure, rounding out his 5-man front. This setup showcases Mac Allister's importance to Liverpool's strategy. He's a key figure in the pressing system, helping to disrupt the opposition's play and regain possession. Liverpool's number 10 isn't just making waves with his offensive skills. Defensively, he's also a force to be reckoned with, ranking 11th in the league for tackling with a total of 64 players tackles. He stands 38th for the most tackles made in the final third, which makes him second only to Luis Diaz in the Liverpool squad for this stat. But it's not only just about the numbers. His determination shines through his pressing game. And there's more. He secured the second spot in the league for the most blocks, tallying up to 51. That's just behind Everton's James Tarkowski. This achievement places him in the 97th percentile among midfielders across the European top 5 leagues for this metric. Mac Allister doesn't only bring creativity, a wide passing range, and forward momentum to the team. He's also rekindled the essence of Klopp's heavy metal football with dynamic play. His energy and aggressiveness in pressing were clearly on display when he secured a penalty against Sparta Prague, and that was but a small sample of the way he presses during games. By taking a glance at this chart, it's evident how Mac Allister has become such an all-rounder this season, offering essential quality both on and off of the ball. So when you really think about it, Liverpool didn't only get a bargain with Wataru Endo, they also unlocked Mac Allister's ability thanks to the Japanese. And it's safe to say, Liverpool fans are breathing a sigh of relief that Moises Caicedo ended up elsewhere, right? But let's zoom back in on the star of our story, Mac Allister. He's on an upwards trajectory with 2 goals and 3 assists in his last 4 matches. The Argentinian has cemented himself as a pivotal element of this new-look Liverpool. If the Reds are to leave their mark on this year's title race, it's clear Mac Allister will be at the heart of their efforts. And that wraps up our deep dive into Mac Allister's standout season. We're keen to hear what you think. Has Endo's regular inclusion freed up Mac Allister to showcase his best? Is he hitting his peak in a more advanced role? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you liked our breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more Liverpool insights like this. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.